Hi, I'm Kimberly Fitton, and you purchased the Law of 10. And so these are universal laws based on biblical principles. And if you're watching this, you want to know more about manifestation, or you've already been manifesting and you're kind of wondering, what am I leaving out? What's blocking? And we're going to talk about the Law of 10. Uh, Also attached to the principle of sowing and reaping, which again is a biblical principle, but the way I'm going to teach it, it's going to make perfect sense. And so I'm going to screen share. I have my friend, my sister, Jennifer Dumas is joining. So, hey, Jennifer.
Hey, how are
I,
you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I think it's super important. You guys have heard my testimony and my journey. I met Jennifer because she was bored one morning and decided to watch Morning Mindset. But I was
I
talking about,
think it's so much deeper than that. Like, I think it has to do with the law and manifesting a person that I could grow and gain so much knowledge from. So it was way deeper than just watching Morning
people don't
Mindset.
believe you can manifest anything, but you can manifest friendships. You can manifest relationships. Like, that's very real. I asked for friends. I asked for people to support me in ministry, and those friendships that were cultivated 4 years ago are still going strong, and I've grown so much just for my highest good. So absolutely, thank you for mentioning that. Jennifer
Yeah.
is here at last minute because, like I said, it's one of the things that ups your manifestation game is when you can see people that it's actually happened for. And so you can kind of remind yourself, no, this happened for Kim, this happened for Jennifer, this happened for so and so, right? It's not somebody far off you've actually seen and heard. So Jennifer's going to join me. I'm going to share screen and we're just going to talk organically when some things occur. I particularly, come on, alarm. I particularly want to I can't wait for you to share just your manifesting journey and really the how the law of 10 worked in your life, particularly. So that's going to be awesome. So I'm going to share screen, and anytime you want to chime in with an example, please go forth.
Okay.
Please go forward. So for those of you that you decided not to get the manifesting basics bundle and you said, let me just get this one, that's cool. I can still fill you in. So this is part of the basics of manifesting. If you want to find out more, then you need to purchase the bundle, or, watch Morning Mindset, or listen to Manifesting 101, the podcast. It's on there for free 99. So welcome. You're not here by mistake. You're here because it was a design of the Lord for you to get this information so you can get your life. A little bit about me. When I started 5 years ago, 5 years ago, yeah, I had one job, one stream of income, and manifesting. I manifested my first book, Science of Greatness, which I just wanted to do it, just say I wrote something. I thought that's why God was having me write it, but treatment facilities all over picked it up, schools picked it up, and I got that KDP. Well, before they were KDP Publishing, I got that Amazon create space. Your check is going into your account. And I saw that check. I was like, whoa, pow, yeah, really awesome. So it changed lives, particularly mine. Then Decree, the second book, then the other ones, honestly, ministry has manifested out of this, relationship, kingdom relationships, three other businesses, and just so much more. So if you want to hear about what validates me to mentor you in manifestation, Google me. I'll give the short version because we don't want to we don't want to pontificate. Google me. So the basics of the law of 10 and the principle of sowing reaping is you give to get. And manifesting, everybody always thinks about gimme, 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 gimme. When am I going to get? What can I have? And no, it's give to get. There should always be a stream, you've heard that circle of life. That literally is manifestation. I receive, I give to someone else because I am, Neville Goddard says it best. If it takes a million people taking one step to manifest what is yours, those 1 million people will do what they need to do. It's going to happen. And so you're a part of someone else's manifestation, and they're part of yours. And the quicker that you release, the more you can receive. So that's why I always say I am in receiving mode, because my hands are always open to give whatever I have, my gifts, my talents, my information. Um, and that's the sewing, right? So it's not just money. That's what holds people up. I ain't giving them no money. First of all, your $100 is not going to make anybody rich. Sorry, it's not. Um, we give thanks for your $100, but that's not going to make anybody, that's not going to put anybody on the Forbes list. Okay. So your harvest is not your seed. But we're not just talking about money. We're talking about your gift, your time, your talents, your insight, your servitude. You just have to be willing to be a conduit of just giving so that you can get all those things, right? You share an idea, someone shares a resource. I've been in tons of conversations where I give a resource to someone and they say, you know what? A friend of mine was talking about what they needed, and I think you'd be perfect for it. And there you go. Everyone and everything works to prosper me, and I prosper everyone and everything. So where you grow. A lot of people think that that means church. Absolutely not. I have sown into people who have given me great business advice. I've sown into my mentors. If they're planting seeds, dropping knowledge, oh, I'm going to sow, and I call it a trade. Because of my business, one of my mentors in education was telling me about their journey, and their life lessons really helped me avoid pitfalls. So so basically they helped me not have to struggle the way they did. So I traded into them. I slid them a little, coffee money. And that means I traded on their insight. I want their experience plus more. And I traded on that. I blessed them on that. Catherine Ponder, I mentioned that in part 3. Catherine Ponder, I have not met her yet. I am going to, but I pay for all of her books, even if I've heard them for free on YouTube. I love books. I want my own copy, and I'm gonna pay that woman. Does she need my money? Absolutely not. It's the point of sewing in the ways I've grown. Um, if you hold your hand, if you tighten your fist, then and of course that's a typo, but you block your harvest. So if your hands are closed, you cannot receive what you want to manifest.
Okay.
So go ahead, Jen. Share
No,
that
you're
one.
absolutely right regarding giving and what you get and your fists being closed. Even if it's just a couple of dollars that you sow into good ground, somebody gives you their intellectual property, like you just got some good from them. You need to pour back into them, and you really don't see how much it helps you advance until later on. Some examples. Oh, but first, before I even go into that, everybody needs to get the Science of Greatness book. Like, I got it for myself. I got it for my daughters. Like, you need to understand what your purpose to do. And Kim's got a formula in this book. Like, it's a workbook. She breaks it down. She at the end of each chapter, she says, if you have questions, you go to info@kimberlyfitton.com. Like, she's willing to walk you through it. So I don't know too many authors that are willing to walk you through a book. So that was the first and foremost. But secondly, I here lately with the sewing, my sister, my younger sister, has been homeless. Her and her 4 children, she just had a baby in March. So they had all been living in a hotel for 6 months. Yes. And we just recently were able to move them into, it's crazy, my condo. It was a 1 bedroom, but she said she'd take it. We just moved them in last weekend. We did all the repairs. But while she was there at the hotel, God really had her in a place where she had to just deal. She had to endure. She had to trust him. They had to build a relationship. And there were some people who came into her life. I had brought her, she had gotten some checks, and I went with my mom's house to pick up her mail, and I was coming to see her so she could sign her lease and be official, because just because she was renting from her sister, she was trading into good ground, but she still needs to reap the harvest, right? So she was signing her lease, and I gave her her paperwork, and she went off and she went to cash her check. And the Lord said to her, "You need to buy 5 gift cards for $20 a piece." And she was like, "Lord, I just got this money." And he was like, "Buy the gift cards." So she bought the gift cards, and these were the people who were pouring into her while she was at the place that lived in the hotel as well. A lot of people are homeless right now, and we just don't really realize it. The hotels have been booked. And she gave the gift cards to them. And the next day, she's talking to me on the phone, and she says, "Hey, I was just talking to one of the girls. I don't know what I'm going to do about Christmas, but she was telling me what she wanted. And a police officer called us and left a message and said that our family was chosen to receive Christmas gifts. And it was the daughter that she was talking to that won the prize. If she hadn't have traded in where people had been pouring into her, and this was just last week, she wouldn't have reaped the harvest." I got goosebumps so
I know
quickly.
I do too. Whenever I hear stories like that.
So quickly. That's not even my story. I mean, I was there, I was a part of it, but for even myself, like there's just even in a COVID season, like we never would have thought 2020 would be a whole thing, like a curse word. 2020 was like a curse word in some aspects. But in a season where there was so much going on, there was still a whole lot of reaping to do if you were still sowing, and a whole lot of harvest to
A
receive.
A to the men. I
Yeah.
made a post today where I realized that 2020 crazy has been the best year of my life.
Me
Not the
too.
year I did the book, not the year I did anything. It has been the best year of my life. I have been able to mark progress where before, like when I reflect toward the end of the year, it's like, what I do? Okay, I got a book, did it. I did it, did it. But this has been on every level, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. This has been my best financial year to date
Listen.
in a pandemic.
Listen.
This year I got my
I don't know what the
BMW,
next
my
slides
home.
are. I don't know what the next slides are, but this year I was able to get my credit score in the 700s. Never,
Ew,
never. Over
ew.
here, over here, I have like a debt payoff. I've paid off debt. When you asked me earlier, you were like, "What have you done?" I was like, "I really didn't hit my goal. My goal is my 7 figure 1 million revenues earned. I fell short of that. But then God was like, "But don't you remember I gave you this?" Like we got a $400,000 bond. Bonding is when
Explain and
you
break it down to
okay.
us.
Bonding is when you go and you do a job. It's important to have. If you have bonding, you have credibility in the job world. If you have bonding, if you can't perform the bond, there's the job. There's a company that says, okay, if this company falls short, we're going to come in and we're going to finish the job so that they make sure the job is getting done. Like it's extra security. We got approved for 400, and it was bad credit Jim. Bad credit Jen got approved for 400,000 off the top. We got the PPP loan and it's forgiven. So we were able to get an SBA loan for $150,000. When we first started this company, nobody would help at all. And as soon as we got into alignment
There's
of
a word.
what we need, just alignment, because our business is, I know a lot of people, want to go back and forth regarding our business is kingdom based. Like the father's first. He's first. He's
You
head.
don't play with
So
that.
listen, all
As
principles.
Jess said, you are powerful to disagree.
You
This is
are.
just what we doing here.
It is. And I found that it's been the most beneficial. Like we run down every dollar past him because we don't want to mess up the bigger plan. And we don't want to waste no time because that's one thing we just don't get back. You don't get back time. But if I look back over this year, whoo, baby, it's been, I mean, and I've been around her manifestation since before she decided to her manifestation it. Like when she was just tinkering with it, like I was taking notes. Like every phone conversation where I'm on with Miss Fitton, I have a pen and paper because you just don't know what nuggets are just gonna come out in random conversation.
Funny, but your initial investment was the faith to believe in a chick you had not met. That like that is that's manifesting, right? You're starting this journey. You have to know that you are meant to be blessed and there's something for you to get out of it. And so I just go into every conversation knowing I'm going to pull something out of this day.
Yep.
I walk in with a spirit of great expectation. Oh, I'm going to pull something out. But you had already traded in and sown in where you were growing long before you even reached out, right? So you had
Right.
already.
I was kind of stalker. So yeah.
But I stalked the heck out of Catherine Ponder.
You know, that's what you gotta do
I
when somebody
stalked
has what you want.
when somebody has what you want and you know it resonates with all of your spirit.
Yeah.
I need this information. I'm gonna get this information. So
Yeah.
let's get back to the slides. We're gonna have a great conversation, clear out this information, and I know that I'm gonna hit on this slide where you're gonna talk and it's gonna be great. So we got to that: hold your hand, tighten your fist, block your harvest. That's just what it is. If you won't release it, then that is your harvest. You keep on manifesting the same amount of paycheck. You keep on manifesting this. That's because you won't let it go. And when you get to the point where you let it go, that's when more can come. Is what I just said on the previous slide Bible? It sure is. Remember that we're not talking about the law of attraction. That's not what that is. Before it was a law of attraction in The Secret, it was universal laws based on biblical principles. So here you go. 1,000 times, yes, it is. The law of 10, known as the tithe. If you go to Micah 3, 10, and 12, when we hear about the tithe, we normally, it's preached or taught to us about, hey, the church needs it. Your pastor needs it. Everybody needs it. But the tithe has nothing to do with your pastor or the church. It has everything to do with you. So everybody quotes the 8th verse, right? Will a man rob God? I don't want to do that today, right? You can read the 8th and the 9th verse at your leisure. All right. The 10th verse, bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there might be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith the Lord of hosts. And verse 12, all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be the delightsome land, said the Lord of hosts. Notice that he says in those verses, you. So tithing, the law of 10, is an insurance policy. When he says, bring that there may be meat in my house, he's not talking about the house of the Lord, known as the church. The church did not exist in the Old Testament. We are the temple. We are his house. So that provision can rest, we give. Literally, that's what that means. If he says, don't even do the law of 10 because I said so, do it to prove me and have a conversation, because that's what Hebrew law is based off of. The argument brings the intimacy. If you watch rabbinical priests, they read the passage of the Torah and the Mishnah, and then they say, this is what I think, but why, but why, but why? And they argue it, because this argument creates intimacy with the Lord, because he always answers. We're not taught that in our churches. And so we're standing here stuck on stupid. And I used to be the worst tither, like, you're not getting my money. I grew up poor. I lived in my car. And then you want to give me a paycheck where I'm making more than I ever made my whole entire life, and then be like, give me 10. Really, yeah, that would have been nothing. I know I wouldn't have been as broke, nor had to have all them payday loans, had I just sown. So when I decided to do it, the Lord challenged me to tithe based upon what I wanted my take home pay to be. And when he said that, I about had a heart attack, because I saw what that amount is. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. because either you're God or you're not. The Lord is the law or he's not. Well, I'm making the amount that I tithed on maybe 3 years ago. And each year I got a promotion to increase that, right? And then this last time, I think maybe like 3 months ago, the Lord challenged me again, tithe on what you want your take home to be. And so I'm doing that now, sowing where I grow. But anyway, he says, listen what you're going to do. I'm going to open up a window of abundance for you so much that you won't even have room to receive it. He calls us the house, and then he talks about the windows of the house. Can you imagine all of the rooms in your house being filled with gold? You still could not spend eat every one of the rooms in your house was filled. You'd be dead before you could spend the value of that. And so he says, I'm going to pour you out. You won't have room to receive it. And listen, here's your insurance. Verse 11. No one will devour you. Sounds like 2020 to me. Nothing will come upon your home. Sounds like 2020 to me. The fruits of your ground will not be destroyed, nor will they produce prematurely. Ain't nothing more terrible, even more terrible than rotten fruit, is fruit that is not ripe. Ugh. So I get that. Great analogy, great comparison. And then it talks about all the nations will call you blessed. You're trying to manifest a car, and God wants to give you the nations. He wants you to manifest the nations. You stuck on stupid over $200, giving, tithing, the law of 10 on that. But also, where are you giving your time, right? So then Luke 6:38 is another one of my favorite Bible excerpts that talks about what we get. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be poured into your lap. I love that version. I'm sorry. That's the New International Version. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Whatever you give, you will not only get back, but even more. Another version says, shall men give unto your bosom. So there was a time where I just could not stop. Like my Cash App would go off, or my Shopify stores, like I own a string of Shopify stores, and I'll wake up to the change, 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 like waking up out of my sleep when I first started tithing, like really operating the law of 10, not just again in my church, but to everybody that was pouring into me. Like Pastor's Appreciation Month, I remember the Lord was like, don't forget Jennifer. She's a pastor. So cool. I think I get the 3 other people. Me saying cool is such progress, because I'm like, absolutely not. God bless Jen. She can make it on her. God bless so and so. God bless you. Won't be my money. Now I don't care. I don't care. The Lord tells me to give it. Fine. All I know is it'll be multiplied over here, because he always gives more. So before we affirm, because some of you are going to have a problem in doing that, and I think this is a great spot for Jen to share your story, because I'm going to give you an affirmation so you can just trick your ego. We talked about tricking the ego, because when you go to give, you're going to be so excited to do so, and then you're going to see that amount, you're going to see your paycheck, and you're going to think that your job is your source. It's not. Your job is not your source. It's not. You are Genesis 1:26, the product of the Ruach and the Rhema, and you have the power. So before we affirm and dig a little bit deeper, I just want Jen for you to share your story of the law of 10 and operating in that, and just what you experienced.
So yeah, like everybody else, in the beginning, as far as tithing, I felt like, if I'm giving my service, that's especially in church, if I'm serving in the church, I'm working in the praise team, I'm working in the kitchen, I'm cleaning the building, you know, that's me serving. That's me tithing. I'm sowing into this ministry. And God's like, yeah, no, that's really not. But I was still broke. It was still paycheck to paycheck. It was still a struggle, I was still operating in what my husband calls, because we just recently went over this, in a deficit. And I said, if it's good enough for the country, it's good enough for me. So and it's like, no, no, ma'am, it's not. That's not good enough for you. So I had to get out of my head. And it's easy to tithe $100, of your gross. If you're making $1,000 a week, it's easy. But when you're cashing checks for $78,000 or $100,000? Are you going to write that $10,000 check to the place that you're sowing? So with me, I say, Lord, okay, this is the tithe. Where do you want me to sow it? Because I gain from so many different places. I'm not serving in just one, and I'm gaining for so many different areas. He might say, well, Logic gets this portion, and your church that you're working in, it gets this portion, and I want you to donate this to this person on this street. And I'm the type of person where I won't question, but I also run into people who don't have that same feeling. Like my spouse is not, he holds it tight. But when he gave me authority over the finances regarding the business, he understands that we sow and that God gets his first. And he sees it because jobs are still happening. There's so many people. I ran into somebody the week before last and they were like, "You guys are still here? I thought you guys went out of business." I was like, "Nope. Actually, the company that was doing the service before that you were getting all the work from went out of business. We're still here. We're just doing it through another company." And not to be bloaty or whatever, but my father has it all. And if he's getting the first fruits of my labor because that's what he's due, it's an honor to serve him. It's an honor. And if all he's asking me for is 10%, and he's leaving me with 90, and he's going to send me random checks in the mail where I'm going to send him a message and be like, "Girl, where are these random checks coming from?" When he's going to allow me to manifest, was it $72,000 in a week on money that wasn't due yet and came early? If he's going to allow us to still
Sheesh.
maintain, listen, if he's going to allow us to maintain to be afloat, me and my husband, we've always had to put our money in first to operate. So when you're a small business owner and this is our bread,
Yeah.
we have to put our personal money in to keep the company going. And when COVID hit, we were always putting our money in first and waiting. And when we were able to get some loans and secure, well, we had a line of credit in the beginning, and we thought we were finally getting ahead, and then COVID hit and they snatched the line of credit. We weren't even past due. They took it immediately. It's like the world's in a pandemic. I was like, it's the second day. What's going on? You just took the money back. So they took the money back, and here we are thinking, okay, well, how are we going to function? How are we going to function? But we still give our first fruits. He still gets his 10 off the top. And he managed to allow us to continue doing work. I just sat down to do the billing today, and I was 2 months behind. Before, I had to make sure I did billing every week. But because he's constantly providing, it's really been the best ride ever. I told Kim earlier, I said, I forgot I hadn't been tithing because I was waiting on money. When money comes in, I do it first. I
Right.
don't even wait for my paycheck because I do it through the
I know
company.
that's right. Just
Yeah.
get it
So
out now. I don't
yeah,
even count it.
I don't even have to worry about it. Right. So um I was supposed to write a check, and I just had forgot. And I was talking to someone on the phone. I was like, yeah, I'm supposed to tithe. And I'm telling you, as soon as I do it, I know as soon as and it wasn't even a big check. I think it was like $500. That might be something to somebody, but when you've written 10,000, it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different. But I just was busy, and I was like, and I can't believe I'm letting this 500 stop 15 down. You know what I mean? Like 50,
Absolutely.
I'm letting this 500, you're letting this $20 hold you up for 2,500. That's what you have to look at it as. You be excited to give your 10.
That's it. Let the emotion. The Bible does say that the Lord loves a cheerful giver. And the reason why is because when you're cheerful in your disposition when giving, it means that you already believe that he's going to prove that he did give us dominion over the earth to produce. It's not even as religious. It's for we know it's not religious and legalistic. It's built up relationship. It's not even a sin not to give you your 10. It's not. Like, so stop it. You could go forever and don't do anything. And then you won't maximize anything because even the non-believer operates in the law of 10.
Yep.
Facts. And so people pay their mentors, people honor them, people give like philanthropy, and there's tons. And there's one guy who's a millionaire, and this is a story Catherine Ponder shared, where like he said, okay, God, I'm going to not give my tithes, I'm going to save it in a separate account so I can gain interest, and then I'm going to invest it for you, and it's really going to make like literally this is his reasoning. So he was talking to the divine, who has limitless supply and resources, that he was going to manifest more for God. It's hilarious, but I get it. I get his thinking. I want to give you more.
Right.
It was his worst business year ever
Until he tied it.
until he gave the money that was in the account. He was meditating, like, what am I doing wrong? It was like, empty the account. The minute he did, back in the black. And that's what it is. It's the releasing, because you the universe cannot conspire to do what God created it to do concerning the sons of God if you do not operate in the law. And the Lord is the law. The Lord is the law.
Well, life
And
is trading. We trade for goods. People have traded their money to watch your teaching regarding how to manifest. So they're expecting to receive the understanding of the law of 10. So when we're trading our money, we're trading that same money back into the same system that the God given you, the God of all has created, to let that money continue to cycle back to your hand can't stay closed. You
so that
can't.
you can get so you're not only trading on the information, but you're trading on the testimonies that you're hearing right now, right? So if it happened for Jennifer, it happened for me, it's going to happen for you. And the other thing I wanted to say about Jennifer, which I mentioned you in part 2, I want to say, they're getting this information so much cheaper than the initial, because the one thing that the lesson for me that needed to be learned was to know the value and to know the worth. Whether I ask for it or not, that's two different things. And so Jennifer was one of 10 people who took the $150 course. That was a leap of faith for a lot of people, but everybody that did the work, that manifested businesses out of there. My mentor took that, manifested so much money out of
Got a
that.
$1 million contract out of it.
I like that business of one of my friends, Adrena, who took that course, her husband and her business, they had struggled to get a loan or whatever. Like, and it was a faith struggle for her. Exactly. Breakfast Deli is doing so well. Like they're
Yeah.
packed in pandemic.
Yeah.
Even when they weren't in person dining, had to shut down because they ran out of resources because everybody bought it all.
Wow, that's amazing.
So the one thing people did not stop doing in pandemic is eating, clearly.
Eating.
And they wanted to eat at Exactly Deli.
Well, that's funny. Some restaurants have gone out of business
Yes.
because they were shut down for so long.
So I have a great story, and I actually want to get her on. This is a juice place and this is like, especially if you're struggling in your business and your faith, to believe and all of that. Give, honestly. So there's this juice bar called Smashed, sorry. Pressed is a coffee shop I go to. So and it is great. They have this juice called Skinny Mini. You drink it, you can go all day without eating.
Really?
It is delicious. I know what they put in it. I just don't want to juice it myself. But I won't do that. Just let me pick it up. So normally they would have been open earlier, and so I could stop by before work, and they were closed. I said, what is this? So I called and I said, hey, are you guys no longer open? She was like, for the last 2 months, we have been struggling. I had to let go of all of our help. My husband and I work. We haven't had a day off. We're barely making ends meet. The Lord was like, literally, I heard him say, sow into her, order $200 worth of product, and then continue to order until I tell you not to. So, okay, them juices are $10 a bottle. It's priced way too high, but you know what? Yes. Thank you, Lord. Whatever. And then he told me to write down a couple of decrees for them to say every morning. That was just a month ago. The next week, when I picked up my stuff, She was like, "Thank you so much for the card. My husband and I read it every morning, and I say it all the time, and business has turned around." I don't know who she's pouring into. I don't know who, if she's operating the law of 10. I
Right.
know that I operated in the law
You
of 10.
operate in the law of 10, right?
And you never know how that's going to bless. There have been times where I've been told, like, I picked up an order at Texas Roadhouse, and the girl, she was so kind, staying out in the rain, taking my order, but she was so pleasant. And I said, "Oh, I just want to bless her." Although I thought I said it, but I'm pretty sure I was inspired by Holy Spirit. I was like, "Bless her." I had $100 bill. I asked her, I said, "Who gets this tip? If I give you a tip, will you get it?" And she goes, "We split it in there." I said, "Oh, well, I don't need it." In my head, I'm like, "Well, she ain't gonna get this money." Like, and then Laura's like, "Don't give the 100." And when I gave it to her, I slid it in so she wouldn't see. And she turned around and knocked at the door window and was like, "Are you sure? I think you gave me the wrong bill." I said, "No, I didn't." And operating the law of 10, like, did so I could feel that it did something for her. Like, she really needed that money. And the other girls that were helping out needed that as well. And it's just like, we are connected, which is why I said, if you want to manifest for only you to come up, ain't gonna happen for you. That's a definite blocker. You are your blocker, boo.
Absolutely. That also taps into a little bit with our staff. Our staff rides are like they we got some rough ones, but our staff, they've been with us, like, we sew into them, they sew into us.
Mm,
We do weekend work with them. They are around last minute calls, like, it's ride or die, you know? So, the people that, you who are your team and they're pouring into you in certain areas and you're pouring into them, everybody's gotta get the reaping of it. Like,
everyone.
you can't live this life without producing. We are called to
Absolutely.
produce. And if you don't know what you're called to produce in, I suggest you get the science of greatness first.
You
You
so
skipped over that step. I'm just, it's it I know you, I don't want anybody to think that this is a false plug, but it's a really essential tool in you understanding what your purpose to do. When you know what your purpose to do, then you're a little bit more confident, and you, as you approach those things, you don't have to second guess yourself. Well, is am I called to do this, or is this what I'm supposed to do? No, this is
you
what you could
know.
do in your sleep. You know that if you mess it up, it's still going to be successful because you're purposed for it.
Like
And
I
if you
said,
know that you're purposed for it, then you can give the law of 10 your all easily.
right. So that's the other thing. You just don't arbitrarily give out money. You don't just arbitrarily give out your time, your talents, your giftings. The law of 10 is not about just picking someone, opening up a book, and just picking, oh, they get it this month.
No.
It
Right.
has to be ground, good ground. So when
Right.
I sew into Jennifer or trade in Jennifer, I know that she's walking in purpose. It's good ground, and that money's going to come to me. If you are sewing into someone, especially if you are paying family bills, you're
That part.
being gyra for them. You are not operating in alignment. And so you are blocking your manifestation harvest, and you're blocking theirs.
Theirs.
You have to be really, really in tune. I call
Mm.
it tuned in, tapped in, turned onto the frequency of heaven, discerning who you should pour into. And that's really important. The law of 10, again, isn't about monetary means, it's about ongoing, mutually beneficial relationships. I give, you give, we give, they give, and the circle gets better because people are being infected by your giving heart. And how can you let that money go so freely? How can you not care? How can you? Oh, no, no, no. I'm covered and only good can come to me.
That's right.
That's what the insurance policy in Malachi says. So
That's
that's
right.
that. So like, and the thing is if you didn't purchase the science of greatness, I can tell you what your purpose is for free 99, or for what you paid to get this, which is what, $10,
Don't
like
cheat
Black Friday.
yourself.
Oh, I
Go take
am.
the
Because the
journey.
purpose is just to help someone. The book
Yeah.
tells you how to, helps you figure out how to. But our
All the
purpose,
steps.
everyone's purpose, is to help somebody. So you don't have to be, you're already special. It's There's your purpose. Now, how you do it, that's where people get caught up on, and that's what the book is about. Buy it, don't buy it, be convinced in your own mind. If you
That's
pray,
good.
the
Oh,
Lord
no,
will
I'm
tell
gonna
you.
cut that off.
I know
Don't
that you
cheat
hate that. I
yourself.
just
Don't cheat yourself. If you really want to be serious about changing your mindset and changing the atmosphere and breaking the bonds of poverty in your life, you need to invest in yourself and knowledge. You pour into good ground. Buy the book. It tells you all the steps on how you can move forward. You can do the workaround for a little while, but eventually you're gonna run into some snags. I see how she's cut it off.
I mean,
Shut it down. Okay, fine, fine. That's it. I won't say nothing else about it.
it is. You're absolutely correct, Jennifer. And then the other thing that as we've learned in our multiple journeys, because this is not about manifesting just monetary, right? It's what I like to call the big five: physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and financially. In a spiritual sense, you have to be convinced in your own mind, and you are, like your walk is your walk. And whereas the Science of Greatness is a phenomenal book, not just because I wrote it, because it is and it works. And that's what I prided myself on, because I like searched for forever for my purpose. And I read so many books that I was left thinking, I'm just not special enough, or I don't know how to pray, or God's not listening to me. And I asked the Lord to give me something to make it so that no one would have to walk that walk. And so it's there. There have been tons of people who have identified their purpose without that book. And Godspeed to you. However you get there, just know that that helps you manifest even more, because otherwise you're just manifesting to manifest arbitrarily. And what good does that do? So we're going to do an affirmation to trick the ego to help you advance in giving. It's very simple. I am so happy and I am so grateful that you keep your word and always multiply my seed. I am so happy and I am so grateful that you keep your word and always multiply my seed. That giving thanks, when your child thanks you for what you've done beforehand, it makes you beam with pride. And we are the inheritance of the Lord. We're his children. And so that's why the universe conspires to produce for us, because that's what the Lord said for the universe to do. Said, gave man dominion, call to the earth, and it will produce. And the reason why you're living paycheck to paycheck is because you won't operate from your seat of authority, which says, I am a son, produce right now. So prove the law. The Lord is the law. Up your faith levels. The Lord is the law. And so if he made us out of his spirit and gave us his breath, whatever he says we have, we have. I have the decree shirt on. Jen has the pusher shirt on. But the decree is given from a king. It's a proclamation. And once the king puts out the decree, it is the law. And not even the king can take it back. Read the passage in Daniel. That's why the Hebrew boys had to go to the fiery furnace. That's why Daniel had to go into the lion's den, because of the king's decree. Couldn't take it back. The Lord is the law. So repeat that. Just, I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that you keep your word and always multiply my seed. You can also say, I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that my faith is increasing day by day, by day, by day. So happy and grateful that I have a giving heart and give freely and receive freely. Because if you have a problem giving, you also have a problem receiving. Not from blocking your harvest, but you have a problem receiving compliments. You have a problem receiving constructive criticism. I'll put it this: correction. You have a problem receiving feedback. You have a problem receiving love, because a giving heart is a love-filled heart. When you don't give, it means that you feel like some way you're going to be rejected, and some way you're going to be slighted, and some way you're going to be forgotten. And honey, you need to deal with those issues. Get on somebody's comfy couch, and also get in your prayer time and sit and meditate. And you can decree, as I said before in part 2, you can decree love. You can decree an open mind. You can decree an open heart. So then there's a law of releasing I want to remind us about. In order to get, one must give. Give up the old idea that you're rejected and that you're going to be forgotten. Give up the old habits that don't serve your highest good, like being stingy. Stop it. Give back the change if they give you over what you were supposed to get back at the register. Come on now. Tip, tip the waitress and waiter. Come on. I know that you are thinking, really, Kim? Yes, because it's integrity and it's character. And if you will not develop an integrity and character, you ain't gonna receive. The Lord is a law, and he will never give you a blessing that your character and your integrity cannot sustain. So live with your hands open. It works both ways. If it's open, you receive and you give. Live from the end of a thing. So if what you wanted manifested right now, would you still be the same? I mean, would you still not give? 9 times out of 10, if you won't give 200, you're not going to give 10,000. So stop asking to be a millionaire. Just start at the 100 and give your tithes. How long will it take? Manifesting is always about your greater good, and the character is being developed. The master plan is on the blueprint in heaven concerning you. So just know that all of that character, all of that integrity is being built up just as you're manifesting the little stuff. Character integrity is being you're manifesting a greater character and greater integrity as well. Okay. So how long will it take as well? If it doesn't manifest, it will not last. And if you won't give, this is what I found. This is what really made me really convinced to give my tithes. When that money, I would get paid, and it would seem like if I got paid on a Friday, the money was gone Monday. And I would have to get another payday loan to cover it. Because, the insurance policy wasn't working. Let's say that you need some help. There you go. If you want to be rude, people to cheer you on, the Pusher Manifestation group, been on hiatus, right? And you get it. Like, I'm making Pusher free from now on. Get in there, get the information, get out. Get in there, build somebody else up. I'm just gonna be giving free information. So people won't even have to pay to join, which wasn't always the case. Or you can sign up for personal mentorship at KimberlyFitton.com. And those intensives are going to be so, so dope. But I want you blessed. I want you living a great life. We want you blessed. That's just more testimonies. Like, this is more people doing amazing things. Jennifer, my sister from another mister. I just am so honored. Thank you for joining me last minute. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for trusting the process and knowing that manifestation is not about a destination, but a journey, and pushing people to greatness. Like you have a wonderful company, a coaching company where you help people get government contracts. That came out of manifestation process.
It did. It has.
Like life changing stuff.
Yes, because my favorite, one of my favorite public speakers, motivators, Zig Ziglar. I really wish
Yes.
I had met him before he passed. But he says life is about helping as many people get what they want, get what you want, so that they can get what they want, and that's the kind of thought process that I want to live by, helping as many people get to what they want so that I can get what I want, and helping everybody is really what we all want at some point, right?
What
So
would you
thank
tell
you.
someone who, like, what did you do in your decree time or a formation or affirmation time? What did you say in order to affirm a different mindset toward giving?
Um, I started, so you're 5, because that was like in the beginning, and you doubled it for us because it was 10. We had to do 2 decrees in each area of our life. And it was there in that foundation that I asked for the heart to give on the level that he wants me to give, as opposed to what I see right now.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, that's how
God's
I
sight.
treat. Yeah, I wanted to everybody can say, I am a millionaire or, that small statement, but no, Lord, I wanna give to the capacity that you see me giving at without hesitation. Like, I don't wanna second guess that. As soon as you say, "Up, that person right there on the corner," it doesn't matter what you think they're gonna do with that $10,
Doesn't
give it to
matter.
them.
Not my
Let
business.
yeah, let me not second guess in that area. So that's where I asked to have the mind of him as it is, because if he's endless and he runs the accounting system, like his accounting system, like if we're to inherit all of it, so he controls it all, why wouldn't I go to the person who controls it all and say, okay, how do you look at money? What does that look like? I know it's not the root of all evil because you wouldn't have
No.
created it for us to use. So tell me how I'm supposed to view money and then let me get it from your perspective.
He's so macro with it. And I like once I understood money's place in my life, totally different. That's now we all have manifesting struggles and we have but money is not one of them for me. I believe like Rumpelstiltskin when he's spinning that gold straw to gold. Just let me go to the money tree. Money does grow on trees.
Right. Getting skinny seems to be the bigger hiccup on the manifesting. Because I am my perfect weight. It's just not. I just need to accept that this is the perfect weight.
Well, there's even more about that. I think that's great to like even talk about on the podcast, just how you can manifest anything, even body consciousness. Like you can manifest anything. It's really good.
Okay,
Jennifer,
yeah,
thank you
bring that up
so
on the
much.
next one so I can catch
Listen, it will do. Will do. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining. And if you have any testimonies, you will have testimonies from this. And email us info@kimberlyfitton.com and just keep on doing great things. It's not a destination, it's a journey, and happy manifesting to you. Bye.
Bye.